Yes, welcome back to the Emirates for game week 19. Of course, it is the first game of 2025, and if you are watching this post midnight, wherever you are in the world, a happy new year to you. Arsenal, of course, will not be inside the Emirates Stadium where we're about to take a lap. They'll actually be at an away fixture against Brentford in the first game of the year. It's quite an exciting thing. It has horrible memories of that 2-0 loss back in 2021 to Brentford when they were first promoted, being a new fixture kind of style event. However, Arsenal go into it very much a team in form. In fact, it's worth saying over the last 8 matches, Arsenal are only surpassed by Liverpool in terms of maximum points. We've taken 18 out of our last 24 available. All the other teams in the Premier League seem to be losing. And before we really get into the meat and bones of how Arsenal might do against Brentford and how the season has gone over those first 18 games, I think it's worth talking about where everyone is in the table and how I feel some of the other teams have done, something we don't always focus on this channel. But the first thing it's worth noting, congratulations to Nottingham Forest. What a performance they are currently having. Not only are they in the Champions League places, but they maybe are an outsider for the title. My good mate Scotty up in Nottingham has been loving this season, and in truth so have I actually. I think Forest are probably my second team in the Premier League, or at least something of a miracle team this year around. So well done to Nuno Espirito Santo and the team up at Forest. On the other end of the scale, let's talk about some of the teams that aren't in that Champions League hunt, which we wouldn't have expected, or maybe wouldn't have expected at the start of the year. Firstly, Tottenham Hotspur. What a joke of a team. They find themselves down, I think, in 11th spot. And I'm starting to think that St Tottenham's Day, that famous day when Arsenal or Tottenham can no longer finish above each other, is going to happen by late February. The way Tottenham are going and the way Arsenal are going, they are worlds apart. And I think at that Toilet Bowl Stadium in the bad part of North London, there is going to be some real drama in 2025 unless they start picking up points. But if you thought it was getting Spursy in that part of the world, imagine being a Man United fan right now. They find themselves 2 points further down the table and in 14th. They're only now 7 off relegation. What is happening at Man United? It recently came out, I think yesterday, that Amarim's replacement at Sporting Lisbon has been let go. And I wonder if Amarim himself fancies returning to Sporting Lisbon, where he was a bit of a modern hero compared to whatever the drivel is they're doing up at Old Trafford. That really is a club that could find themselves in trouble in 2025. Equally starting to be worrying is Aston Villa's form. They've really dropped off, and although they're doing incredibly in the Champions League and should be celebrated for doing that, Unai Emery's having his famous kind of starts well, completely goes off a cliff edge, might get sacked by the end of the season vibes. And I think there's only so far Villa can go. They've got some amazing players who really have performed well in the last couple of years, but this might just be one season too far. How high can they get up the table, I wonder? A team that has a very chatty fan base that I think are on the up, although not recently, is Chelsea. 3 games ago, they were league contenders, I guess. They could have been winning a league title, but instead, a 0-0 draw against Everton, a loss to Fulham, and then an embarrassing, and I mean embarrassing, loss to Ipswich, in which Amari Hutchinson got the second goal and did some flips in the air, an ex-Chelsea and ex-Arsenal player. Chelsea might be in a bit of trouble. Their fan base would like to now pretend they weren't league challengers, title challengers, but as they find themselves in 4th place, who knows what happens. They've got a squad that's big enough to be about 3 teams worth, so they might kick on in the new year, they might not. But finally, I should talk about Liverpool. Oh, chef's kiss for their start to the year. What a way to really get your title credentials up there. They look the team to beat. I thought Arsenal could have beaten them at the Emirates, but Mo Salah took his goal well in the 82nd minute, something like that. But Liverpool will need to drop off if Arsenal are going to do anything. But for now, they're amazing in the Champions League, they're amazing in the league, and kudos to them. I don't mind admitting when another team has done well. So if you're a Liverpool fan watching this, well done. If you're not, let's see if we can all catch them together. So back to Arsenal, we're 9 points behind Liverpool. We obviously play the next game before them, could bridge that gap down to 6. And I think Arsenal are probably the team to beat Brentford. It seems to me like we're on the up and Brentford are maybe stalling a little bit. A real reliance on Wissa, and Brian Mbeumo might be their undoing. I've been impressed by Sharda. He's played on one side, although I never put him in my FPL team. But for me, Brentford aren't really a team that look like they're in their highest confidence. They will clearly hang on in the Premier League. They might even get themselves up that table, but it is actually quite meaty and competitive in the middle of the table this year. Teams like Fulham and Bournemouth and Brighton have done really well and made it quite hard to attain their standards. So for Brentford, I guess staying up is the aim, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but there's only so far you can do when you've had a poor start to the season. Oh, it is starting to get windy out here. Whilst I take a little break, it's worth saying, if you haven't pressed the subscribe button and you're enjoying what you're seeing, help me out. I'm trying to get to 150 subscribers by the end of the year. It is a slow burn beaut start to a YouTube career that started at the beginning of this season. Let's see where I am personally come the end of May. A huge thank you to everyone who has watched these videos, left their comments, subscribed. It is beautifully appreciated, so thank you. Back to the review. I tell you what, the wind is right in my face. The beauty of this stadium as you walk around it is it's a bit of a wind tunnel when it's going in your favour, fantastic. When it's not, it is properly G-force going round. But I shall come round to Turnstile A and crack on round. Arsenal have an angsty fan base. They want trophies, they want success, they don't want to be a laughing stock. And right now, Arsenal are on the precipice of being really competitive, Champions League, Premier League, and falling off and turning into the likes of Man City this year, or Chelsea, or Man United, or any other top 4 team that are not quite there. It's really important we get these 3 points against Brentford. The firepower up front needs to start showing itself a bit more. A lot of people were disappointed with a 1-0 win over Ipswich. I personally was in the stadium really enjoying it. I thought if Gabriel's header had gone in, if Gabriel Jesus' offside goal, if it just held and checked back a little bit, we could have been looking at a 3-0 win. We didn't. It is what it is. Plenty of people will be saying we need big strikers in January. We need another right winger to replace Saka. We need loads more depth so we don't have any injuries. But I think this squad is quite well put together. I think we will go on to get the 3 points tomorrow and put ourselves in with a good shout of, I don't know, going on a little run. It's now 11 games unbeaten in all competitions. And as I said, 18 points out of 24 in the Premier League. It's not bad. Four players that are under scrutiny. One is Kai Havertz. No matter how many winners he gets, if he's not getting a hat-trick, people seem angry. I don't know why. He's currently on for a 20-plus goal season. He's done really well. He has 12 in all competitions. I'm personally very happy with him. But a lot of people, unless they see that ball going in the net a bit more, and maybe not in a tap-in fashion, but really creating a goal out of nothing, he will take scrutiny. Gabriel Martinelli, again, people seem to be obsessed by goals and assists. And even though he's done all right, he needs to be a bit more deadly and fill in, maybe when Saka's away. The third player under scrutiny, Gabriel Jesus. If you take away what he did against Crystal Palace, you're not really left with much for this season. And finally, Leo Trossard. There's talk about him moving in moving in January, not to Japan. What was that about? There's talk about him moving in January. I don't see it personally, and I thought his assist in the last game against Ipswich, he looked good. I'd like to see him kick on a little bit, get more 90 minutes and start producing in a way he did maybe last year or the year before that. So on to score predictions. My last one of the year, my first one of the year, depending on when you're watching this. I'm filming this on New Year's Eve, just outside the stadium. I think Arsenal will get goals. I think Brentford also might get a goal. It's the kind of venue where Brentford fans really do like to get behind their team. I think Arsenal are going to win 2-1. I think it'll be much more distance between the two sides than that scoreline sounds. But I think 2-1, and I expect our attacking players to get on that again, to get on the score sheet. Open play FC, and for me, I think Arsenal getting those 3 points, starting the year right. Let's go on a little run. Let's get players back from injury, including Saka, who had his surgery and will be out for another month and a half at least. But for now, 2-1 to the Arsenal. You can see just how dark it's got, me doing one lap there. I'd love to hear from everyone out there. What do you think the score predictions are going to be from your end? Have you been impressed by what you've seen in Arsenal for 2024? And it's worth saying, we have the best Premier League record for a calendar year. So for 2024, we would be the table-topping team if only seasons were put together like that. We've scored more goals than we've ever scored in a calendar year. We've conceded less than we have for many, many years. I think Arteta's in the right direction. Arsenal are in the right direction. And for 2025, my New Year's resolution is to win a trophy. Wherever you're watching the football this weekend, be good humans, do good things. Peace.